welcome back. Wow, my hair looks huge today. Damn. You know what they say, the higher the hair, the closer to God. What can I say? What, you want to come up too? I don't have enough lap space. Okay, come here. Gosh. Ugh. Okay, two dogs, one lap. Hi. I guess both dogs wanted to be clingy today. Today, we are going to make a doll. I'm sure you guys have, oh, belly rub, okay. You wanna go on there? Okay, go up. You can go look at, okay. He does this sometimes. He just likes to sit on the desk and look out the window to see everything that's happening in the neighborhood, even though there's really not that much happening. But he just likes to spy, I guess. Today, we are going to be making a doll. You might have been following along on some of my dolls that I've been doing on Instagram, and I'm going to show you guys today how I go about doing them. I've made some like TikTok videos and stuff showing how I do it, but I feel like a more extensive video would be helpful. I really just did it because I saw another girl on TikTok who makes little dolls. She doesn't do needle felting, she sews them, but I saw them and I was like, those are really cute. But since I don't like sewing, but I know how to needle felt, I was like, maybe I'll needle felt the bodies. So some of it was kind of messing around and noodling and figuring out what worked and what didn't, and this is kind of the process that I do so far. And yeah, we're just gonna jump right into it today. I'm going to be making another Puppets doll. I think this time I'm gonna make Scotty. I do want to preface by saying that all of the doll heads that I get are vintage doll heads from like the 50s and 60s and 70s. And so obviously, unfortunately, since they're from that time period, it's kind of hard to find diverse skin types. So I ended up learning how to airbrush just so I could paint different skin types. You can also look into doing airbrushing. I'm not going to make a video on airbrushing specifically because I'm very, very new to it and I really don't know what I'm doing. So I don't want to give out any wrong information. I learned like the bare minimum to essentially figure out how to paint the faces nicely. And I don't even know if that's correct. I would highly suggest you do your own research and watch other people and other professionals who have done airbrushing for a long time and not look to me because I don't know what I'm doing. And a lot of the times when I get into a project, I literally just wing it and see what happens. With that out of the way, I will show you the supplies and the tools that I use and the process, and we're gonna build it from start to finish. So let's go. Boop. Okay, here is what you are going to need. It is a lot of stuff, but I will show you each thing piece by piece. So you are going to need, first and foremost, needle felting supplies. That is a pad that you can get. It's a foam pad. I think like Michael's and other craft hobby stores will sell something like this. You could probably get it on Amazon. But it has a soft pad because when you stab, you don't want to stab into plastic. You'll break your needle. You also want to have the tools, the actual needles themselves, the tools. There's this one for big stuff. It helps you stab fast. And then you can get these little pens and you can put more than one in here. I use one for detailing, one or two. You also want to get a protector, a finger protector, because you will stab yourself and it hurts. Also, it's good to get some extra needles as well. These are from Amazon. I don't recommend getting this if you're just starting, but if you know what you're doing, you can get a needle felting gun. They're made by people on Etsy. This one was from Russia. It's scary, but it works. You can put up to 4 needles in here. You just unscrew it, put the needles in, and then when you turn it on, it's not plugged in right now, so it won't work, but when you turn it on, this thing goes at like a crazy speed. So that's pretty handy. The second thing you need is wire. This is just from Joann's or Michael's. You want a good gauge wire that bends without snapping, that you can kind of pose, although I don't over pose my dolls because I don't want the wire itself to get weak. But you can use it for posing and building basically an armature, which is essentially the skeleton. So I have two options here, just depending on how I feel, how I want it to be. Then you want yarn. I have white yarn and then this one for my darker skinned girls. Once you build the armature, you wrap the yarn around to basically build out the muscles. Then you want wool. You can usually get this on Etsy or eBay or whatever. I have a giant bin of it, but I will show you what it looks like. This is what it looks like. It's soft and it's loose, and you basically use the needles, which are barbed, very, very slightly barbed. I don't know if you can see. They basically like tangle all of the wool together into a shape. So you just stab over and over, and you'll see it in the process. But you can get this in like a ton of different colors. For the faces, I find just like vintage doll heads. They don't have any specific name. Here is one that I took the paint off and I airbrushed the face and the cheeks, but you can kind of see what it looks like as a base. I cut the hair off because it just gets in the way. You can buy little hands off of eBay and Etsy. I just type in doll part hands. You just want to make sure that they're to the size that you need them to be. For painting, I use gouache. I don't know necessarily if it's the correct thing to use, but I actually really, really like it because I like the control I get with this. Gouache is kind of between acrylics and watercolors, so they can layer on thick like acrylic, but you can water them down and get a very soft feeling look with them. And I just really like the control I get with these, so I've just continued to use them. This is Holbein, I might be saying it wrong, Holbein. Then I also have soft pastels, and I use this for blush. And then I have soft brushes. I got these from like, I think it was like Target or the grocery store, and it's just like a soft brush. And I use this to apply blush. You can see like the red on there. And then you can also get watercolor pencils for fine detail work. I use this brand. It's pretty good. You also want to get paintbrushes, very fine, thin paintbrushes that can taper to a very fine point. I'm still searching for the best one. So far, I got these at my local hobby store and I really like them. Royal and Langnickel, Crafter's Choice. I got these at Hobby Town, not Hobby Lobby, Hobby Town. You also want to get a sealant. Hobby Town near me sells Mr. Super Clear. You can also get it off of like Amazon or something, I think. People use this for face-ups for like ball jointed dolls. I take off all of the paint on their heads. I spray once to coat, then I do airbrushing, then I spray again to seal it, then I put like a base paint down of like eyes and stuff, and then I spray again, and then I finish up everything, and then I spray for a final clear. I also have a gloss. This is just from, I think, Joann's. I put this on the eyes and mouth just to make them look glossy and nice. I can't find it right now, but you're going to want to also have acetone to take off the paint if you need it. I also have these detail Q-tips for removing paint as well. And then lastly, you can choose to make your own clothes, and I've done that for some of my girls. But for some of the other ones, I have opted for finding Barbie clothes. So here's just some Barbie clothes, so you can grab those if you want. Plus any detailing, these are like bows and stuff like that. Just anything else that you want to add to accessorize and make it nice. But that's basically everything. These are probably the most important things that you would need. And you could always make your own heads out of clay. You don't have to do doll heads. It is kind of a pain in the butt to scrounge around and find ones that you like, but at the same time, when you're searching for heads, you can come across some cool molds. This one's too big. It came in a pack of a bunch of heads that I was testing out, but here's one. I repainted the face on this. Here's another one that hasn't been touched. It's a smaller face. But you can get them all different styles and shapes. Some of them have like, it's just the face and this back part's cut off. You can find a bunch of different types of heads if you look. I don't have any specific tips or tricks. I just type in vintage doll head parts and yep, oops. I'll put links to the places where I've gotten some of these things off of Etsy in the little box below. Hi, it's a little later, actually a lot later. I'm going to show you the first steps. I changed into my Pikachu Kigu, which means that we're ready for action. And yeah, you can watch how I started. I'll normally put on a show and do this because it's easier for me to pay attention and doing something with my hands and keeps me interested in what's going on. But I will unfurl a bunch of wire, cut the wire with the wire cutters, and then basically I want to start building out a very simple skeleton shape. You're just gonna have to bend and straighten. So once we make sure that the head is the appropriate size for the body, we are going to start wrapping the yarn around the armature base. So I make sure that the feet have little loops in them, and then I tie the yarn on the feet loop, and then I just start wrapping. At this point, I just double check to make sure that the hands and head still fit the body and that it doesn't look too awkward. Then I take my wool roving and I start to wrap it around. Essentially, the yarn kind of acts like the muscles and the wool is going to act kind of like the skin in a weird way. But we're also going to use it to flesh out the body even more. But I start wrapping it around the yarn. I use my big needle felting tool to kind of adhere it so that when I go in with my gun, it won't move around as much. So I'm just adhering it to the front and the back to the yarn. And then I'm going to add a little more yarn to other parts of the body, and then I'm going to go in with my gun. So once we have the base down, I start going in to add all of like the squishy parts of the body, like the butt. So I basically take the wool roving, roll it in a ball, and I can either adhere it with the needle or I can adhere it with the gun. Now, since she basically has like two little balls on the back of her, we want to soften it up. So I leave a bunch of the wool loose and I roll up just the bottom part. And then I wrap it around the body, and that helps all of it kind of blend together. The wrapped bottom part gives more of a hard line, so that kind of gives the impression of butt cheeks. I just go in with my gun and adhere it all, smooth it out. And as you can see here, now it's all blended and you can't see a hard line. The butt is a little flat still, and the legs are kind of just straight and weird, so I'm going to add more of the wool roving on the legs and kind of blend that in. A lot of this is kind of just adding and adding and adding pieces of wool over and over again. It's a very additive process, so you're just going to keep adding wool in the spots that you want more dimension and more flesh, quote unquote. Day 2. It's a very gross day today. It is so rainy and I didn't feel like doing anything fancy or nice. So we're going to continue where we left off, which is adding more volume to the body so that she has more shape. And I'm also still trying to decide which head mold I want to use. Since this is for Scotty, Scotty's a little like tougher, and I feel like this is kind of a little too baby for her, so I'm kind of feeling this one, and I think it fits her body better too. I'm glad that I painted 2 of these, but yeah, we basically I have to fill out her butt a little more because it's kind of flat, and then give her some boobies and glue on the arms and put in the head, I think, and then we can get into the fun part of painting the head. At least my plants are getting some water. You can't see it from here, but my raised bed also needs water. At this point, I'm just going in now and adding a lot of volume. I'm adding volume to the legs, I'm adding volume to the butt, to the stomach, to the arms, basically just fleshing out everything. I add a lot to her legs because Scotty's design is a little more leg heavy versus some of the other girls. She has like a smaller, petite chest and stomach and then bigger legs. I also add more to her butt and I end up making it too big, although to be fair, all of the girls that I've made have pretty large butts. So you'll see I accidentally make it a little too big, and then I will end up going in and fixing that by taking the gun and by stabbing it in the same spot over and over again. It kind of condenses the wool down. So that's how you shrink something, kind of. She got that donk. Shake that ass, girl, let me see what you got. And this is the final result. You can see everything smoothed out and nice. So let's add her undergarments. We start by taking white since her representative color is white. All I do is really just lay the wool on top and use my needle gun to attach it all. Nothing super crazy, I just take strips and kind of roll them into long pieces and felt them down. We did our first pass with the eyes and everything. We're going to spray it down with Mr. Super Clear to seal it. Now for my favorite part, adding the gloss. Make it shiny, shiny cute. The ears and the hair get added separately. I create the ears on their own and I glue them onto the head. The hair was gifted from a follower who was so gracious enough to send me a bunch of these stage pieces of hair. They are also made of wool, I believe, so I glued the base onto the head and then needle felted it all together. Now we attach it all together. We put a bunch of glue on the inside of the neck and stick it on the loop from the armature. The last thing we gotta add are some shoes on her feet. I just needle felt a flat piece of felt and then I use my little detail needle to attach it all. Oops, forgot the tail. I'm going to make the tail separately and then we are going to needle felt a divot or a hole into basically where her tailbone is, and we're going to glue that tail into that spot. And voila! We completed her! She's done! Give me. Give me. Give me. No. Give me. Give me this. Now back to our regular scheduled programming. It's wrap-up time. So this is basically how I do these dolls. I mean, none of this is like steadfast, like these are the rules, you have to do them. But more so what I found worked for me. If you end up exploring other ways to do these dolls or do something similar, I mean, more power to you. This is just kind of what I found that I liked. They're inspired a lot by vintage dolls that I have. I've always really liked the idea of like rubber heads and then the soft bodies. But I think she turned out really cute. And I really like, you know, she's just so cute. She sits in your hand. Just hangs out. But look how cute she is. Yeah, I really like how her hair turned out. I think that the jacket is a little big for her. I know technically this is like her bra, but it's more of like a bandeau, and she would be the type of person who probably would just be like, it's hot, I'm buttoning this. She just looks casual and comfy, which is kind of her vibe, is like more menswear, casual, comfy. I think the airbrushing that I did actually really matched the wool of her skin tone, so I think that worked out really nicely. I've been really enjoying making these little dolls, and hopefully in the future, once I'm done with all of them, I still have Bebe, Momo, and Chi-Chi to do. And once I do all of those, I'm hoping I can make some one-of-a-kind dolls, maybe not even specifically puppets based, but just like a cute doll, and then be able to sell those if people want them. I don't know. If you have any questions about any part of the process, feel free to leave a comment. I'll do my best to answer. My first doll ever that I made, which is up here. She's really janky. I made her head out of clay, and then I sewed her entire body. Oh, she's so wobbly. And I put a wire armature in her so she could bend, but it really just turned out awful. It was definitely a learning experience. So going from like this to this is a nice improvement, I think. Whoa. She doesn't do that. Maybe I'll make another Susan doll because this is awful. I want to do a quick little plug for my own stuff. If you don't know, I have an enamel pin club, and they are all little space alien girls based off of the planets. The lore around it is that they are the ambassadors for each planet in the galaxy. This is Mercury. This is Venus. For March, that's Susan. She's the ambassador for Earth. And this one is going out for April. This is Mars. Cosmic Tier gets you just the pin. Atomic Tier gets you a mini print, and it will be signed by me and an enamel pin. The leftovers I'll be posting on my website so you can buy them if you didn't get a chance to get them before, but they will be marked up a little higher than they are if you're part of the enamel pin club. So the enamel pin club starts at $20. That's shipping included anywhere in the United States. And then the atomic tier is $30. That gets you the print and the pin, and that's also shipping included anywhere in the United States. Anyway, if you want art updates and merch updates, follow my art Instagram. It's Savannah Alexandra Art. I post all of my updates along with commission information, merch stuff, questions on what you guys want to see. It's all interaction through my Instagram. That's it. All of the links will be down below. Okay, that's it. Bye-bye.